And good morning. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and this is things you might not have heard for Wednesday, March the 2nd, 2022, which means these are things that happened in the news yesterday. You may or may not have heard of them, but they're things I'm giving you right now as a way to be conversational as you start your day or maybe go through your day, depending on what time you actually get this recording. For some reason, YouTube's really late in getting some of the playbacks some way in the streaming, but we're going to get you right now. Thank you for all of you who are showing up live as it happens. A little late today, had some technical issues, and who will show up a little bit later. Just put your name and what's going on in the chat, where you're calling from, got a radio in my head, where you're watching from, and what you can think about it. And we'll take any suggestions, any feedback whatsoever. Doing a couple quick changes here or there to make things a little bit livelier, make things a little more peppier, and to keep it pithy, keep things going a little bit faster. So let us know how you're liking the changes and what things you might want to come back. I did have some requests for the teaser song. I don't think that's coming back because it takes a lot of time. But if much people if people ask for it, we'll deal with that. What we're going to provide for you in just a moment is 5 news stories that were essentially vetted by you as conversational that aren't necessarily the mainstream media breaking news stories, although there is a lot of Russia going on because there's a lot of Russia going on. Plus, a teaser story, a story that's being posted more or less as we're speaking that you might want to talk about tomorrow, and we'll let you know how you make all that stuff happen as well. Story number 1 for this morning, getting things going, is this one. Original USFL sues Fox over USFL reboot. Sports.yahoo.com has that story, and for some reason when I tried to get the information for it again, because sort of verify the link was still good, had issues with the source. So maybe this is one that's a little bit wacky, or maybe it's changed, but the basic of it is this. If you remember 30 years ago, the USFL, the football league that was going to compete with the NFL, and with the famous team, the New York Generals, owned by Donald Trump, that guy. It was a league. It wanted to outlast the NFL because every so often people want to be better than the best. It didn't last very long, and for some reason, for decades later, people are still getting paid for being on those teams. Now the USFL is being revived as a secondary league, a summer league, if you will, for Fox Sports. It's going to compete with the XFL, which is was supposed to be a rival and turned into a sideshow league as well, because sideshow football leagues are a good thing. They're minor league football. They're a way for people to see people play and get people into bigger leagues, but they have trouble catching eyeballs and making money because people are too busy not paying attention to football in the summer. It is what it is. So the original USFL is essentially still exists on paper or in some legal office someplace, is apparently trying to sue Fox's Reboot because they're using some of the names of the old teams, and they're using its likeness, if you will, even if its likeness is a defunct football league from 20 years ago. We'll see how this one goes. We'll see if this one actually is the real thing. Like I said, my verification, this was one of the top stories of the day, but it didn't quite come through when I went looking for it this morning. Next story this morning is Apple stops iPhone, iPad, and Mac sales in Russia over invasion of Ukraine. USAtoday.com. This one not so much breaking news, but later in the day news. But they are being Apple among the add-ons to companies who are no longer selling stuff in Russia or selling stuff to Russia in a sense. They essentially cut off the Apple Pay in Russia a few days ago. I don't know how they're going to just pull all the iPhones and all the iPads out of Russia and stop selling them. I guess they'll just lock them up and hope Vladimir Putin doesn't have a backdoor key or something like that. And they've also done a couple other things, including killing the tracking ability for people in Ukraine. So you can't track their phones. All the tracking apps don't work in Ukraine, so that the Russians can't track people on their phones in Ukraine. Kind of smart, huh? One of the kind of drawbacks of all the technology that we have is that the technology can be used against us in many ways. True story, back in the Air Force, my last program I worked on in acquisitions was a program which was well before GPS technology was this good, was a program that allowed us, the U.S., because we actually owned most of the GPS satellites at the time, to press a button and basically scramble your GPS so that your precision tracking was no longer precision. This was to make sure that our allies had precision weapons, precision guidance tactics, and precision gear, but the Russians, because GPS was coming commercial, did not. So it would scramble everything but the military grade GPS and then we would have the rights to have on-site targeting, and they wouldn't. Now, with the way GPS has gotten so commercial, it doesn't quite work that way. And as you see, Apple had to literally cut off its tracking for Ukrainian phones so that you can't track Ukraine people on their iPhones. It'd be a travesty at this point because it's all about business instead of tacticalness and technology. But that is how things work in the realm today. Let's move on to our story number next. Then that story happens to be this headline: Leverage. Timothy Hutton sues after being dropped from Reboot. A lot of suing today. TVFanatic.com is the source for this one. And this is a simple story about a guy who was from a popular show that got bumped from said popular show when they brought it back because you reboot everything. Killed off officially, made it work pretty well for a storyline. I didn't really get to watch much, or didn't watch much of the Leverage reboot because I just got kind of busy, whatever. But they wrote a very good story and had a very good continuation of the original Leverage show. But what had happened was Timothy Hutton got canceled because of something Timothy Hutton did. And I can't even remember what it is he had done by the time it came back. But the Leverage show reboot was a big deal, and then they had to address why the main character, the head guy, was no longer in the show, was killed in the pilot episode of the reboot, and how that also helped reboot the way the show went as well. They also ended up taking out Aldous Hodge, who got really popular really quick, and so he was around for the start of the recording, but essentially handed off his skills, the hacker skills, to a younger actress who was determined to be his sister, to basically take on his roles while he popped in and as a sort of a reoccurring character as opposed to a regular character. So the whole gang didn't quite get back together, and of course, it's a different show, different event. It was follow one guy MacGuffin instead of a weekly thing. But we're not gonna get into Leverage here. We're talking about Timothy Hutton. Timothy Hutton wants to get some money back because he lost off on some money because he couldn't be in this reboot because he got canceled. That's how the canceled folks do it these days, apparently. Move on to one more story before we take a quick break for commercial stuff. Gotta pay the bills. W&J student disenrolled for a personally hurtful sign during women's basketball game. And this is why I'm not repping Zenny Optical this morning. That's for Washington Jefferson College. This coming from Pittsburgh.cbslocal.com. And one of the weird things about your local news is they write things for local people. And so I had to go back out and Google what W&J was and get Washington Jefferson College. Their dean, Eva Shanjay Sutton, bounced this student who, during a basketball game, found the most creative way to get into the head of a player, but the most vile way to get in the head of a player. So she was in the stands with a sign, a dry erase board sign. So apparently she was changing things while it's going along with a date on it. And the date on it was the death date of an opposing player's father, who had just recently died. And so when she went up to the free throw line, went up to shoot, she'd stand up, hold up the sign with her father's death date on it. And you could guess that would be some sort of so the school acted pretty quickly. They bounced the kid pretty quickly. That's swift justice and great justice, I would say, on any single day. Let's take a pause from the news. We got one more story that you suggested and the teaser in a moment to talk about Bear Mattress. Go to this is a conversationproject.com/Bear Mattress and get yourself on in and onto. That made no sense. Learn about the Bear Mattress products. They have 3 different great styles of mattress for your sleep style. They have sheets, they have pillows, they have everything you need to get yourself a better night's sleep. And the big thing is, just like every other mattress store that says they'll still put a box in your door with a mattress in it, they will do the same thing. You don't have to go shopping for it. You don't have to do much about looking at pictures online. You can see all the reviews, basically 4.5-star reviews for all their mattresses. You can get yourself a great new mattress. It'll show up at your doorstep. You pull it in your room, you open the box, and poof, a mattress appears like magic. And then you have a whole year, 365 days to sleep on it. And this is something you can sleep on and really get a chance to get a feel of Bear Mattress. And if you don't like it on day 366, they'll take it. Guess what? That day will never come. Well, that day will come, but they'll never have to take it because you're going to love this mattress. Check it out at thisisaconversationproject.com/Bear Mattress. This is an affiliate link, so we do get a little piece from this, but it costs you nothing extra and it gains you a great night sleep, or day sleep. If you're a day sleeper, maybe you're still working at home and you're sleeping during those conference room meetings. I don't judge. Final story that was suggested by you, Miva Ponsetto, woman who falsely accused black teenager of stealing her cell phone in SoHo hotel, may get plea deal. Another local one, CBSNews.com gives this one, but this is basically a local story. You may remember the summer of Karens. This is one of the Karens in that summer. A lady in a hotel lobby accused some black kid of stealing her phone, and I guess it was like in her pocket or something. I don't remember what happened, but it went on a tirade. It was recorded. People went nuts. Karens were Karens, and they turned out to be a whole false thing. And in that summer of Karens, a lot of these Karens end up going to court for false claims. She did the same. This thing apparently is going on for quite some time. I don't know why it takes so long to wrap these things up when there literally is video evidence of her harassing a young black man. She's probably gonna get a plea deal to plead down to something lesser than what's going on. Now, should she go to jail for just being a jerk? Probably not. Should she be punished for being a jerk? Definitely so. And definitely in this case, because it's a weird case, not even weird case, a serious, just flat out case of just racial profiling, just being an idiot, stupid Karen. We'll see how this plays out now that we have to get more conversational things in the news. So we're not just talking about Russia, Russia, Russia. This thing will probably pop up in a few days when the plea deal gets through and it's all tied up. We'll talk about exactly what Miss Ponsetto is up to. Let's go to our teaser story of the day. Sticking with basketball. And that's this being March and March Madness, the tournament for NCAA kicking off like 2 weeks or so. It's that time again. Getting time for the conference tournaments and your brackets. This is a conference tournament story that is a real tale of woe. Headline from Bro Bible: the worst team in college basketball is set to play its conference tournament with only 5 players. Not going to go deep into this, but this story was posted about, I'll say 20 minutes ago. We had some issues getting on the air this morning. And this is the story of one of my favorite name teams, UIPUI, or Indianapolis University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. It's actually a joint college grouping between the two universities. So it's a very fine school with very fine backers and usually a pretty good basketball team, but they've had a lot of troubles this year and only had 6 players, right, real scholarship players to start the season. And that number is now 5 going into their tournament. We'll talk more about this tomorrow if this is one you choose to talk about. And we'll tell you right now how we get the chance to choose to talk about it. It's very, very simple. Indeed. It's pressing buttons apparently aren't that simple this morning, though. That's the issue. And it's simple because you just stop by. We have 3 websites to talk about to get into all of our business at Things You Might Not Have Heard and the Conversation Project. The main one, this is theconversationproject.com. Click on that button right there, that link. Go to that link, check it out, and you will see information about the Conversation Project, things you might have heard, 8 things to talk about, the weekly wrap-up that used to do that we'd like to try to do again at some point in time. And you will get a chance to click on the buttons for sponsorships and partnerships. That's one way, 2 ways, actually, if you know math, that you can help support the show here. Go to the sponsors page and see all of our sponsors. Those are all affiliate links to great sponsors who will take good care of you. And the partnership is where you can go to places like Buy Me a Coffee and other links that we have that you can direct donate to us, and we will take every single donation with heart, with warmness, every single cup of tea, coffee, or rack of ribs with love. Because you want to say I'm donating a rack of ribs, trust me, I will not refuse a rack of ribs. And the feeds, facebook.com/This Is Conversation Project and twitter.com/th_conversation. When you go visit those websites and you sign up and follow those feeds, every 50 minutes or so, we put a new news story into the feed. And how we pick the stories for you is you engage with them throughout the day. Like them, love them, hate them, share them. The more you engage with the story, the higher the score they get for the next morning. About 5 in the morning, we pull the scores from Twitter and Facebook, put them in a sheet that weighs them out to a 1 equal even score. And then we take the top 15 stories from that batching and go into it on Tuesday through Friday. On Monday, we go through the whole weekend. So we take the top 25 stories. We go a little 10 deeper because we have 3 full days to go through. And we pick 5 of those stories, and we may pick 6 for Monday. We hadn't quite figured it out yet. To go give you as your water cooler stories for the day. It's that simple. We take care of that. We also tell you a couple other things that you might not have known, including birthdays for today. For March 2nd, happy birthday to Daniel Craig, Bryce Dallas Howard, and John Bon Jovi. I got to give love to my girl out there. I got to show some love for John Bon Jovi. So, that goes out every single year to my girl, Terry. And it's Ash Wednesday, day after Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday. So today is a day of Lent. If you officially celebrate it, if you are looking for a nice young Catholic man today, he'll literally be tagged up here. If you don't celebrate Lent or officially, many people just take the time between now and Easter to find some way to empower themselves and better themselves. They go off of something. There are official things that people don't do for Lent. My parents actually fast from now till really fast from now until Easter. Me and my wife will probably give up Netflix. No, that's not happening. She's not giving up Netflix. That's there's no way that's going to happen. So we're going to just we'll figure that out sometime in the middle of the day. Also, one last thing that you might not have known. Guess what? Some cats are actually allergic to humans. Put that in your pipe and smoke it for your day. Today is Wednesday, March the 2nd, 2022. This has been things you might not have heard. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but mostly there's things that are pretty curious, and hopefully you can take on to your day for your conversations in the random world going out there. Whether you stopped by live or saw this on the replay, let me know. Pop it in the comments. Let me do some quick shout outs to Big O, who popped in this morning. Also, Al Dunnigan, thank you so much. We glad you guys popped in and checked this thing out. Like the loves, like the hates. Take all the comments and all the donations via buymeacoffee.com/JClevelandPayne you guys want to share. So with that said, let's get on to work. Let's hit that road, hit that traffic, get that day done. We're 3 days into the week, 2 more days until the weekend, if you get a weekend. And these are some things that you can chat about if you're forced to chat with people. Some people have that issue as well out there in the real world on your Wednesday. Thank you so much. And we will do it again, technology allotting. And of course, Lord willing, creek don't rise tomorrow.